and there are slides on here, but now we're going to be split. So that's going to be a problem. So we were kind of trying to figure out how to solve that, but we can't. Anyway, I guess we're going to start with our narrative concept and the concept of our game, which is a horror survival game inside a pretty much a changing maze. It's supposed to create a sense of creeping dread, an oncoming storm. It creates a pit in your stomach, especially at the very beginning of the game. Everything seems normal, and it starts slowly, things start to change, and it takes on the Unheimlich, which is kind of when normal becomes strange. It's pretty much a psychological thriller, and everything that the main character sees comes from the character's mind. So, moving on. This is our poster, which was a screen grab. But yeah. So I want to talk about the main narrative core loop in the game, which is whenever you enter a person's apartment, which is a very big part of the game. So when you are playing the game, you start off in your apartment, the main character's apartment, and you enter these strange mazes, which appear out of nowhere. After you complete a maze, you end up in your neighbor's apartment. These places are supposed to have letters, photos, etc., which tell you about the narrative, about the people. And there are better supplies, like better flashlights, flares, and things to survive the maze, which is based on light. And there's also a very musical game, so it's very, every character will have their own theme. So yeah. And here's just overviews of Jack and Linda's apartment, and this tells you about their character. One's a marine biologist, she has the fish within the fish fossil copy, and things like that. There's the layout that our artists are doing. The core maze loop are puzzles. Pretty much it's a trap room exercise where you're trying to find the clues to leave the room. There are multiple doors, and if you pick the wrong one, a monster will start chasing you. The only way to fight the monster is to run away, use light to stop it for short periods of time, or you die. And so yeah, you can hide and things like that. Here's a few of the tiles. So the way we built the game is with modular rooms, which are built on top of each other. And there's some pretty interesting ways that we had to figure out around nav meshes, which the programmers will talk about. But there are three types of tiles, which are normal tiles, which are just modular rooms, intermediate hallways, which pretty much lets things load in, and then large rooms, which are kind of our set pieces. The apartments are narrative scenes and supply points, as I said earlier. And here's just more rooms continuing. And now here's art, which is done by Schwinn.
Hi, so my name's Schwinn, and I represent the art lead of our team. So basically, our game is divided into two big parts, right? So there's the cozy environment, which is the room, which is the apartment of the character, or of the main characters, and the maze. And the room is supposed to be very cozy and warm, welcome and warm, so that the character feels safe. But the maze on the other side is a very terrifying, horrifying, very intimidating shape, and distorted shapes and stuff like that, to give it a sense of surrealism. And this is more concept art. This is the environment for the newer maze. This is a character, our main character, Hana. This is the monster design. So these designs are based on different things. Like, for example, Hana, or all the main characters, or all the rooms, are based upon Life is Strange kind of look. So it's like very painterly look. And the maze are inspired by the artwork of Francis Bacon. And also very painterly, but the walls and stuff are just very textury and grime and dusty. These are more concept art. This is my painting of Adam's room, and this is Adam. So this is a character design for this particular room. Or these are the music she listened to, or Hana listened to, the main characters. So we kind of base her personality and stuff off of that. This is a newer maze design that I just did about 30 minutes ago. And this is the newer maze design of Jack and Linda. Yes. And these these are the assets that we've done so far. This is for items. This is our main character, 3D model, and ring. And this is based upon my design back in the Adams maze, kind of technological, distorted shape.
So yeah, and now we can go through to the game itself.
Hi Aaron, I'm Hao. We have built a 2 minutes demo for the maze generation, and we're gonna show the first is.
Turn that down. That's just music that we made for characters. So honestly, we don't have music for the maze. The maze is supposed to be very silent and all story, so we can turn sound off. But now you know what one character sounds is like. So yeah.
So we're gonna show first is the clue system for player to finding clue. Second, we're gonna show the hide from the monster, and third, we're gonna show once we choose the round door, whether the player gonna be teleported. So we're supposed to start at apartment, and in this apartment, there's a dialogue that tells you you need to find a way out, and so you press N to continue, and open the door in front of you, and you enter a hallway. And if you want to go back to the beginning apartment, you can't, because once you enter this maze, you can never go back. So you must have to keep going, and you enter the first tile, and their dialogue tells you, there might be some useful clues you can find. It will help you out. So you click things in the tile. It's totally useful or absent. Why not choose the server? It's so obvious. So it's a giant server, and with the area light, it's custom shader. So the dialog tells us you need to follow the red light and to find the red exit. So you look around. Here we go. You find the door with red light, and you open that door, enter another hallway, and enter a new tile. And in this new tile, you still keep looking cool that can help you out. And click. Now it tells you you need to choose the green light to find the right exit, and you try to find the green. Where's green? Where's green? Okay, there we go. This is a demo for the clue system. We use a different light as a demo. We also can change this to another features. Also this server, down server, and now you need to follow the red light again. So you open the right door and enter a new tile. And in this tile, for some reason, you really like the green light, and we know the green light is the right door. And once you choose the round door, and please choose open the round door. And the monster will chase you, and you will teleport to the room you have already entered. And you're gonna see a monster is chasing you, and you gotta hide here to avoid the monster chasing. The monster is looking around, and in a minute, and you notice the monster is no longer chasing, and you just, because this tile is the tile you have already entered. You know where the right door is, so you keep going and try to go back to the tile in which you choose the wrong door. Right. So this is a tile you choose the wrong door, where you choose the wrong door, and you start to find things again, and you make a noise and the monster is spawned again, because and the way Matthew mentioned, you can block the monster with your flashlight, and you need to get away from it. Get out of the This is too scary. Can we go back to that tile? By the way, those lights are area light. It's not building pointer light and direction light. It's created by our graphic programmer. Also, this is our final room. It's supposed to be a supplies room, and in this room you can find some supply like the batteries. You saw the indicator here. You're gonna refill your flashlight. And this is our maze demo. And I'm gonna talk a bit more about the generation, because we actually have two algorithms for the maze generation. First is the player oriented. So at the very beginning of the game, we actually spawn the tile right after the player, and the player just walking around in the maze. But later we feel that with that algorithm, we can't implement our net mesh, and so the monster can't chasing you if you go to the second floor or the minus floor. So we changed this algorithm to the current algorithm, which is a tile oriented. So we prefix the position of the tiles and we teleport the player among those tiles. So those tiles are no longer continuous. So we also implement a teleport screen. Anytime you enter a hallway, you saw another door, but that door is not exactly out here. It's another screen looking at another hallway in the next tile. So it makes the player feel like they are in a continuous maze, but actually they are spaced in continuous. Yes, this is our maze algorithm. So Alex is gonna show you the VR version of our demo.
So here's where we talk about the VR reality features, which is going to be weird because the guy who knows the most about it has to play it.
Yes.
So this is Alex.
Pleasure to meet you all. My name is Alex. I'm the program lead and I work on the VR application. And it's been a great opportunity to work with it because it offers a lot of features related to interaction and immersion. So I'll let Matthew explain how the game works.
Okay. So pretty much we've made it with, so the game is Vive, so you know you can walk around and stuff, but we tried to we have much bigger space to move around, so we're using the D-pad to move the character, but we can also pick up objects. I'm not sure we have a demo where we can actually throw objects around and kind of mess around with it. We have the flashlight which you actually pick up and move around with, and it feels like a flashlight, especially with the Vive controller. And we had to figure out some menu stuff as well. So the UI is using ray casting, where you point pretty much like it's a whisk thing, where the menu shows up on your hand, and then you point at save, load, and things like that. We're probably going to switch that up to a more into the metaphor of the game, which is going to be more like a notebook, with kind of like just you pointing with your hand and stuff. So that's going to be changed up. And the VR game is going to be slightly different. So there's two builds right now in the game, and they are quite interesting. You actually see it's being set up now. So yeah, I can actually explain it as he goes along. Maybe not. Anyway, I'm going to move to the next stuff. But yeah, as I was saying, movement is D-pad. Interacting with environments, you pretty much use your hand to put it into the object and you pretty much take a grip to it. And turning on the flashlight is with the trigger. And we just thought it felt more natural with these controls. The only problem is the D-pad movement, but we pretty much are living as we go how to fix motion signals. Anyway, maybe we can show off some stuff if it works, but you know, we'll find out. How's it going down there?
Summary some technical difficulties.
Oh, so it's the thumb pad on the controller. Sorry, we call it D-pad. So that's just our terminology. So if it doesn't work, we can move to lighting and stuff. It's we have to use it on this computer. Upstairs. But it's got the same assets, so it's very similar. It's just movements change, and it is pretty immersive. It's really fun to throw around the ball in the game. So I literally can juggle in that game a little bit. It's kind of weird. So, so let's see. a lot of requirements. So, Robin, take it away.
Hi everyone, I'm Nolan, aka Robin, and I'm the graphics programmer of the virtual team. Basically, I'm in charge of handling all the lighting things, including all the materials of the surfaces, as well as how the light is going to interact inside of the scene. So, I've tried our game has some kind of constraint. Is we need to support some dynamic object in our scene. So we can't resort to some basic engine features and big lighting into light map things for it to work, because we have to change our light source, and as well as we have to change some geometries like the door is opening and closing. So after training different solutions, I found the default built-in recomputed global illumination algorithm inside the Unity works pretty well for dynamic lighting in terms of our flashlight. So when we inside the game, we have a flashlight pointing around, and in the horror game, our scene has to be completely dark. We lit with some sporadic, some small light sources. So we want to use the flashlight as a spotlight to hit the surface, and the surface is going to bounce the light and propagate the light through the entire scene. And Enlighten does it pretty well. Actually, we have a small demo showing this. David, can you open the demo of the GI build? Or are you still figuring out some VR things? Right? Okay, yeah. Here we go. We have the dynamic global illumination algorithm right now. This part of which is the Enlighten built-in global illumination solution. As we point the flashlight around, we can see the light is bouncing around. If we hit the surface of the floor is gonna create a second bounce the light from the floor to the surrounding walls. You can see here, and it will make the scene more realistic. Right now, it's definitely not very realistic because we haven't got yet substitute all our materials inside our game. Once we have done the artist's work, it will be pretty plausible. Yes, this works pretty well, but we have some problems. The first problem is because we're going to support the dynamic maze organization, meaning that when we step into a door, a new maze is going to automatically generate based on algorithm, a probability. So we can't pre-bake all things inside of the game engine, the pre-computed, even though it's a dynamic illumination, it still needs some baking data inside of it. So we need to have a solution to support this kind of dynamism. So what we have is, we'll show the next slide. So we want to support when we enter the door, there's a new scene right before us. We can still see the light propagating through different tiles. So what I imagine is something inside Unity. It generates a dynamic light map, and I need to extract the dynamic light map from a shader so that we get different light maps from different for different areas of the scene. And we're going to use an algorithm to blend these light maps together in real time, so that we can individually bake different areas of our scene using the Enlighten, the building global illumination algorithm. And then in the runtime, we extract the light map information and blend them together and reapply the light map to the scene. And this is our temporary solution, and I'm working on it right now. Right now, the light map blends, but it still needs some work to make it plausible. And also, the very reason we want to create this kind of thing is because we want to sacrifice, because the nav mesh needs all the scene baked, and as Hao has demonstrated, the different tiles are placed in the space. They are not connected in space. So that's why we need to extract the light map information, blend the light map ourselves instead of relying on the internal mechanism. Yeah, that's my part of the demonstrations.
Okay. Thank you. And we are much at the end. So we just want to talk about production issues. So the assets we need to create for these modular rooms is pretty vast, and we've got about 4 artists who are focused on that. So what we're doing is we're trying to get the first maze completed by December, and then the rest of the aesthetics pretty much will follow soon, because then it will only be asset generation. We've almost got the figuring out of the speed of the monster right and the flare. So we're still testing that those variables and trying to make sure it feels right. That's kind of what our mentor taught us to do. So more testing required. We're starting to bring people in, and we have management requirements because the teams are so distant, and I'm so distant as manager of the team that's been an issue. But we've been pretty much solving it as we go along. So yeah. And we've definitely got more, we also have like friends in different professional industries who are kind of, it's just, that's also kind of a disconnect because they're in different countries. Okay.
It's actually pretty common. When I was in China in the summer, I visited a company called Virtuos. They had 750 artists and 200 engineers in China. And they do art for Call of Duty in Santa Monica.
Yeah, I want to show the website before we get off to races.
Okay. ProjectThreshold.com.
Yeah. So yeah, we pretty much have it just sent to anything. We've got pretty much our game introduction, we talk about the maze and the departments. We go through the character aesthetics, and yeah. And we have the concept, the contrast, technologies, game progress, things like that. And here's a bunch of early monster designs that we had. And then here's all of our artists, lovely people, and programmers. And me, I'm there too. And we got Twitter, of course, and Facebook. So it's kind of the end of our show. So thank you very much for sitting through our demo. Yeah, I think we've gone over time, or okay, we can show off the VR. So here's a menu set up, and this is kind of where the test physics are, which you can show off. So move things up. And so just raycasting to find that. And in this game version, you don't start off with the flashlight. You actually have to find it. And we pretty much use, so right now we have it attached to the handle grips to pick it up. So you actually have to grip down to pick it up. So, and if you grip again, you actually will let it go. So personally, if we're going to go into design, I'm going to make that much more difficult, or else the player's probably going to grip the handle really hard when the monster comes up, and then they'll be dead. But you know, pretty much to interact with objects in this game, you have to reach out your hand into the objects right now, and it will open. So we're going to probably make more of a larger box for that, for triggering that. But right now it's just a good test. So, and I love how the light actually moves around with the handle instead of with the head. So, and you can't go through the walls because it will push you back whenever you try and turn and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so we've got the game working pretty much in VR as well as in PC. So, and there